Hi friends, welcome to Harmony Hills Home and Garden. I'm Jenny and we're gardening here in Baltimore, Maryland, Zone 7. Today we're going to be learning all about clematis, the different types of clematis, how to plant them, how to care for them, when to prune them, and generally how to take care of your clematis plants, or clematis if you're from the UK. So come along with me and let's learn about these wonderful vining, beautiful flowering plants. Clematis plants, or clematis plants, depending on where you live, are wonderful. They climb and they bring height and beauty to your garden. They have beautiful flowers of all different types, all different sizes and all different colors. There are hundreds of varieties of this plant. Today I'm going to be planting this one. It's called Étoile Violette. I think that's how you say it in French. And this is a fall blooming, or late summer to fall blooming, purple, dark purple clematis. This one can grow to 10 or 15 feet tall, and you can see it's well on its way. It's already about 4 or 5 feet tall and about 3 feet wide. I'm going to be using this lilac tree as the support for this clematis today. Now, clematis like to have their heads in the sun and their roots in the shade, and that means that I need to provide some sort of shade for the root ball where I plant it. So this will get afternoon sun facing this way from about 1 p.m. until the evening. And so I'm going to plant it, actually the root ball, on the back side of the plant so that it's nice and shaded. One last thing, clematis stems are pretty breakable. They're very, they are flexible to a point, but it's really easy to break a clematis stem. So I'm going to take care not to do that. And I'm going to plant this root ball back there behind this lilac, and then I will wind these stems up into the lilac tree and get it started on its way. I'm going to be using my normal planting method of adding some compost to my planting hole and planting space around it. I'll use some Biotone starter fertilizer, and I'll water it in very nicely after I get it planted. And then that will be good to go. Let me get that going. Climbing up this lilac tree, I think it's going to add some really pretty purple interest to this garden in the middle of the summer when there's not much happening on the lilac except plain green. And I think that this will be a really nice way to have some pop of purple going on in the upper story in the summer. Well, it's a little windier out there than I want it to be. I hope that this audio will work out, and if not, I'll just do a voiceover from the inside. There are 3 general groups of clematis plants, and the group that it's in tells you when it will bloom and when you should prune it. Group 1, or Group A, blooms on old wood in the springtime. And so for those plants, you don't really have to do any pruning on it at all. You just let it grow, you let it do its thing, and then every spring on last year's growth, it will put out beautiful flowers, and it'll bloom in the spring, and then it'll be done. You can just leave it be green and enjoy the beautiful seed heads for the rest of the season. Or if you need to prune it for size or shape, or to prune out any dead wood, you can do that immediately after it flowers. But in general, Group 1 or Group A, you don't have to do any pruning on it. It's pretty easy. Group 2, or Group B, blooms on both old and new wood. And so, again, it's kind of like Group 1, where you can just let it grow and do its thing. You don't really have to do much pruning on it. But if you want to prune out dead wood or prune it for size or shape, you need to do that right after its spring blossom season is done, before it puts on its summer blossoms. It will have a little bit of a lull between those 2 blossom seasons. And so that way you can get out the dead wood and still enjoy beautiful blossoms later in the season on that new wood that will come up. And then Group 3, or Group C, bloom on new wood. And so for those, you need to treat them kind of like limelight hydrangea or other paniculata hydrangeas, where you do a hard prune in the early spring, late winter, and then the new growth will come up from that hard prune, and you'll have beautiful new blossoms in the mid to late summer through into the early fall. Now, you don't have to prune the group 3, but if you don't, then what will happen is this year's growth will come at the tips or the ends of last year's growth. And so then that means it'll be extra tall and far away from your eyes, far away from your view. So if you want to be able to see and enjoy this year's blossoms, you're going to want to cut those back so that the new growth this year is lower on the plant. Clematis can be trained to go up walls if you have a support structure or some sort of wire on them. But they're awesome on fences, they're great on arbors, trellises, into small trees or large shrubs, and they really bring a lot of beauty to your garden because they add that element of flowering up above eye level, up another layer of height and beauty in your garden. So they really are a wonderful addition to every garden. Clematis like to have their feet in the shade and their heads in the sun. So that means you're going to be looking for a place where they can have their root balls shaded by other perennials or shrubs or by structures, or like if you have container plants around them, or even gravel and boulders and things like that can shade the roots. They can take a wide range of soil types from clay to sand and everything in between, but they do enjoy a little bit of nutrition. So either add some compost to your planting hole or give them some fertilizer once a year or so, and they'll be just fine. Keep them watered because they do like to, they don't need to be wet, but just don't let them dry out too much or they'll shrivel up. And you'll see on them when they get limp that they need a little bit of water. The clematis that I'm showing you now in these videos, the first grouping of them are called sweet autumn clematis, and they are actually a little bit of an invasive clematis in my area. They pop up around the neighborhood based on where the birds have visited. I have 3 clumps of sweet autumn clematis in my yard that I didn't plant. They just showed up. One of the clumps is down by the sidewalk on the front corner. One of them is up in the flower bed up near the right side of our house. And then a third clump of it is in the backyard up along the chain link fence. My plan for this sweet autumn clematis is to dig out the 2 from the front and put them into the back and have 3 different clumps of it on the chain link fence so that it will grow up and it will help hide the fence and add some beautiful color, beautiful white flowers in autumn. And they're beautiful, sweetly scented as well. So that'll be a nice way to take advantage of that invasive plant that comes around whether I like it or not. By the way, that autumn clematis, of course, is a group 3. It dies back to the ground every winter. I don't even have to prune it. It just dies back. And then it comes back every spring and it blooms in the fall. Out in the front yard on our front lamp post, I just planted a Jackmanii variety clematis. That also is a group 3. And it will cover this lamp post really well throughout the course of the summer, and it will bloom beautiful purple blossoms on it in the mid to late summer into the early fall. I did add a netting structure to that lamppost so that the tendrils of the clematis will have something to hold on to. Otherwise, it would just slide down the pole and just be in a clump at the bottom of the pole. Over here on the fence near the gate to our backyard, I have a clematis growing on a black tutor. And I actually don't know what variety that clematis is. I did plant it, but I didn't keep the tag, and so I'm kicking myself because now I don't know what it is. And last year it put on green growth, but then it all died back before it flowered. And I don't know what's going on with it. I don't know if it has a disease or if it just didn't get enough water or what happened. So I see that it is coming back this season, and I hope that it'll give us a little bit of blossoms on it this year so that I can know what it is. The last clematis that I'm showing you is the one that I just planted last week on the new arbor. This is a Nellie Moser. And she is a group 2 clematis, and so she will bloom on both old and new wood. She's in full bloom right now, and she's beautiful. Pink and purple and white colors all mixed together with some striping. And so there's lots of flowers open right now, and there's lots of buds to come along. So I'm eager to see how she performs in that space. Clematis are wonderful plants to have growing up trees or shrubs or fences or arbors or trellises, and they really do add that extra layer of beauty in the upper story of your garden. So I encourage you to go find some clematis to add to your garden and let me know in the comments below. Do you have some? Do you plan to get some? Have you seen beautiful ones that you want to try? Let me know. Thank you so much for joining here today at Harmony Hills Home and Garden. I hope that you enjoy your gardening season, and I hope you come back again and see us very soon. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.